Welcome back. As you've seen from the title, today we're going to talk about this little lens again, the Fuji 16 to 80 millimeters f4. And who's been following this channel already knows that I pushed out the unboxing, then the review that you'll find over here, and then another video where I explain how they fixed the OIS for videos. So you know that I've covered this lens a lot. And then why do I need, after a year, I need to talk about this lens again? Because in this year, from the lens was released, I've seen a lot of crap coming out of forums, YouTube videos, Facebook pages, Facebook groups, and all of that. People that keep bashing this lens for no apparent reason, and to me, because they didn't get the lens or they don't even know what they're talking about. And so I think that we need to clarify a couple of things related to this lens from the perspective of a user that have been using this lens for more than a year, pretty much every single day in every possible condition. I brought it to Iceland and it was super cold and windy. I brought it to into the heat of Sicily. I brought it to the Dolomites. I bring this lens everywhere and it covers 95% of my photographic needs. And it is to say a lot. And I've been buying lenses in since forever, but I've never thought about giving up on this lens and buying something else because I was bored of this lens. This is the lens that probably is going to stay with me the longest because I super like this lens, and I'll explain you why. So let's just start from the beginning. This lens is a 16 to 80 millimeters with a fixed focal length, with a fixed aperture throughout the zoom range, f4. And this means that in full frame equivalent, this is a 24 to 120 millimeters. So it covers from wide angle to telephoto, mid telephoto range. And it does it with a incredibly well-built body, full metal, with an aperture ring, weather sealed, fairly compact and lightweight, and with a great quality. Now, this lens is not perfect. If you've seen the Angry Photographer's review, 10 out of 10 makes no sense. It's not a 10 out of 10. There are a few flaws with this lens that are worth being mentioned, which is especially the weak corners at f4, both at the wide end and at the telephoto end, and a little bit of loss of contrast when you approach the telephoto end. From 70 on, there's a little bit of loss of contrast. But optically, that's about it. Outside of that, the lens is sharp, colors are great, the sun stars are spectacular, it focuses very close, especially at 80 millimeters. Your close-up capabilities are great. And also, this lens has got the best OIS I've ever tried. And I'm not kidding. Guys, they say six stops. 6 stops it is. I've been shooting, like in my review, I show you that I could shoot, not every time, but I could shoot 1 second handheld at 16 millimeters or 1/8 of a second or 1/4 of a second at 80 millimeters handheld. And not every time, but the majority of the time, the results were good, were usable. And this is a lot to say about a stabilizer. And this was on an X-T3, not an X-T4. So only the lens stabilizer. So all of these should tell you that this is a lens that is designed with one target in mind, which is travel photographers, hikers, maybe landscape photographers that want to have the convenience of just one lens to cover the majority of their shots. And in this specific photographic environment, this lens almost excels. It's not perfect, as I said, but it excels. Now, of course, if you compare this lens to the 16 to 55 or the 50 to 140 or even the prime lens, the other lens have a better optical performance. But it's obvious. We're talking about lenses that have a lower, a shorter range, that are made of they're made for a different purpose, are brighter, but also they are more expensive, bigger, heavier, and require you. They don't cover everything with just one lens. So comparing these makes no sense. This lens is not built for those who use the other group of lenses. This is made for those who want to have the convenience of one lens with a great quality, and that's it. That's pretty much it. If you and if you understand this, it's impossible to say anything bad about this lens. Yes, we know, and I've covered that in my review. This lens is not parifocal. It's not a parafocal, but it's a varifocal. That means that if you zoom, you lose the focus, and this is a great issue in videos. But outside of that, this lens is great. I mean, it's great. Even the stabilizer in video was fixed. There's nothing to complain about this lens. Of course, if you didn't get what this lens is for, maybe you were expecting something else. If you're a wedding photographer that bought this lens is not for you. But it's your mistake. It's not the lens's fault. You choose the wrong lens. You should have gone with a 16 to 55, because that's the lens you probably need. You don't get too much use of a great stabilizer if you're shooting weddings or events in general. But you may need f2.8 a lot more than you do with a stabilizer, and you don't need an extreme range. 55 on APS-C is more than enough for events, weddings, and stuff like that. And if you need more, you would pair the 16 to 55 with the 50 to 140. That is going to give you better quality, better flexibility in that specific photographic environment, and better result overall. But we're talking about different uses, different scenarios, different photographers. If you get what this lens is for, the 16 to 80 millimeters, you just can't go wrong. This lens is spectacular. That's one of the best lenses that Fuji came up with. And hearing from camera conspiracies that this was one of the worst lenses Fuji's ever made me laugh. I mean, I love the guy. I look pretty much, I watch all of his videos, but he's wrong. Yeah, he's wrong. It's not a bad lens at all. It actually is a really good lens. Again, it's not perfect. It's not the 10 out of 10 that angry photographer gave this lens, but it is a great lens. And that's about it. I don't know how people can keep saying that this is a bad lens. I'm not the lucky person that got the only good one. It's not like that, because if you speak to people that actually use this lens, they will all tell you that this lens is great for what it's made for. It's those who haven't tried the lens or just gave a look at the lens that didn't get it and keep bashing the lens. It makes no sense. Guys, don't trust them. Don't trust them. And if you don't trust me, which is fine, I understand, who am I? Go, rent this lens, try it. You'll understand that this lens has a lot going for it. The price was steep when it was launched. I paid the full price and it wasn't cheap. It was approximately 900 euros, and that is not cheap. But now it's less than that. It went down approximately 150 to 200 euros. It makes it a lot more understandable as a price. And if you buy it in a kit with the X-T4 or the XS10 or whatever camera it is, it's even cheaper. That's the lens you need to get if you're a travel photographer. That's the lens you need to get if you're hike and you want just one lens. Me personally, I could sell easily the 55 to 200 because thanks to this lens, I can go out with just one lens, leaving home the wider angle and the telephoto because this lens covers 95% of my needs. Yes, I will buy probably the 70 to 300, but that's because I want to focus a little bit more on animal photography and all of that, but I don't want to have the 100 to 400 for the price, for the weight, for the size, and for all of that. And speaking about size, guys, this lens, for what it gives you, it's the perfect size and it weighs right. With less than 1 kilo, Fuji X-T3 and this lens, I can do pretty much everything. And I also cover close-up capabilities. I'll leave you with a photo gallery at the end of this video to let you understand that what I'm saying is not coming out of nowhere. I've been using this lens pretty much every day and I've shot great pictures, at least to my eye, with this lens. Before that, I ask you to subscribe to the channel if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, let me know what you think. Or if you didn't like the video, give me a thumbs down and explain me why. Again, I keep saying this is the only way for me to keep growing and keep getting better. And I would like to hear what is your take on this lens. And I would also like to hear from you whether you would like for me to talk about all the new stuff that Fuji pushed out lately. Let's say the new GFX 100S, the new 80 millimeters, the XE4 27 millimeters at 2.8, the 30, the 70 to 300, and all of that. Because even if I haven't tried them, there's a lot of things that can be already discussed about these products, even without trying them. So if I have a good feedback on that, I will probably cover this on in my channel. So again, thank you. I'll leave you to my gallery and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.